Welcome back to Von Blues Boxing, man. So I got another video I'm dropping today. I wanted to drop next episode, I believe episode 6. Andy the Destroyer Ruiz will be on my next episode. Today I'll be talking about him. So yeah, Andy Ruiz is, just came back this Saturday, had a tough, way more tougher than expected fight against Chris Arreola. Andy, the fight was tough, a lot more tougher than what most of us thought it was going to be. Chris Arreola showed his veteranness. He showed that he's a veteran. Excuse me, veteranness is not a word. He showed that, his experience, his ability to, he's seen everything. He's shown that he's seen everything. He's shown his ability that Chris Arreola is still a dangerous opponent, even at 40 years old. The man has a ton of experience. And we forget he was just coming off an exciting, good fight before that against Adam Kwanaki. So Chris Arreola has been active, has been fought, for 3 world titles against some of the best heavyweights in his era. He showed a lot of determination, a lot of heart, a lot of grit. He showed that he still has a lot in the tank, and he shows that he's got tricks up his sleeves. He made it a lot more tougher for Andy Ruiz than we thought. He rocked Andy Ruiz multiple times, knocked him down. I think it was the 3rd, 4th round. I thought Andy Ruiz was going to get stopped, and I thought Chris Arreola was going to pull up the upset. But Andy Ruiz showed the heart determination of a former champion, and he showed that why he's at this level. I felt like he had I felt like there was ring rust, you know what I'm saying, with Andy Ruiz. I also think it was just him training. This whole training camp was based on him losing weight, getting in shape, and also getting the mentality and the desire to be in the sport and to compete at the highest levels again. So this is what this whole training camp was about. And I just feel like Andy Ruiz might need another fight before he gets into one of those big fights with a guy like Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury. But these are 3 of his realistic options, I think, in my opinion, my humble opinion. So I'm going to start at number 3. I'm going to go with number 3, the former IBF champion, Charles Martin. I think Charles Martin would be a good fight. Charles Martin has just came off a win against Gerald Washington. He seems confident. He seems like he's kind of got his mojo back, and he seems like that he really has the desire for the sport again. There's a little bit of history. Both guys trained under Manny Robles, sparred with each other plenty of times, know each other. Also, maybe there's a little tension because of Andy Ruiz and the way Manny Robles broke up, but maybe it's not. I just think that would be a good fight for him. That would be his 3rd best option, I think, for Andy Ruiz, because I feel like that's just my opinion. I think Charles, and they're both on PBC. It shouldn't be that hard of a fight to make. My number 2 option is the former WBC champion, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Now, Wilder and Andy Ruiz checks all the boxes. It checks the boxes as far as a pay-per-view fight. You got 2 former champions fighting each other. It checks the boxes as far as, bringing the Mexican and the Mexican-American crowd and the African-American crowd, pushing that, selling that. They've done that in boxing for the past 10 years, pushing that narrative, pushing that. It would sell. It just honestly would sell, especially, it's going to sell to the hardcore fans, but even the casual fans going to pick up on that fight, because Andy Ruiz and Wilder are known for putting guys out. So that fight could be a possibility, but I don't know if Andy Ruiz is just yet ready for Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? That's just my humble opinion. It's not just because I'm a Deontay Wilder fanboy. It's not that. It's just after watching that fight with Chris Arreola, I still feel like him and Eddie need some more time to work on and implement what they want to implement, what Eddie Reynoso wants to implement with Andy Ruiz to get him to become a better fighter and get to that next level. He's been a champion, but to keep him at that level and keep him up there and being a champion. That's what my humble opinion. I don't know if he's ready for Wilder just yet. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, it would be a great fight. I would have no issue if Al Heyman did it, but I don't think Al Heyman is going to, and PBC is going to put that fight together just yet. So for the number 1 option, I have the guy that was in the crowd, Luis King Kong Ortiz. Luis Ortiz is a top 10 heavyweight. He's been for years, in my opinion. No, he doesn't have the biggest names on his resume, but that has to do with guys not getting in the ring with him. You know, because to me, Luis Ortiz is a high risk, low reward type of fighter because people will discredit him. They will say he's old. They will say, oh, he's not that good. Oh, look at his resume. But the reality is Luis Ortiz is dangerous for any heavyweight that steps in a ring with him. Doesn't mean that he can't be beaten and you can't beat him, but he's extremely dangerous because the man is intelligent. He has good boxing skills. He has a really great amateur experience. He has good punching power in both hands, and he has a high fight IQ. So I think that would be a great opponent for Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz has even alluded to it. He thinks it's a great fight. I think it would still be pay-per-view. I just think that that's the perfect fight for him, to test him and to see, is he really ready for a Wilder? Is he really ready for Anthony Joshua? Is he ready for Tyson Fury? That would be the number one option. I think it should happen. I think it's an easy fight to make. I think it would be for Luis Ortiz to prove that, I mean, for Andy Ruiz to truly prove, like, hey, I'm still that dude, you know, because there's going to be some questions. There's some questions now about him, but it's to be seen. So I want to see, I think that's the number one option, and I think that's the next fight. I think Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz, I see somewhere maybe September, October, November around that time, maybe October, November around that time, I can see it happening. Both guys are ranked high in the WBC. I think it's just a hell of a fight, and I think that's a good measuring stick and to see where Andy Ruiz with another training camp where he's not just training to cut weight, where he's not just training to get his mentality and the desire back into the sport, where he's training strictly for an opponent, strictly to win the fight, strictly on skill level, you know, game planning and things of that nature. So I just wanted to get that video out. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. Next episode, part 6, Andy the Destroyer Ruiz. Von Blues Boxing. I'm out.